Hi there. Before we get into this interview, I just want to say we're going to do this a little bit differently. My interview with Charles went on for quite some time. We had a lot to talk about. Not only the greatest motorcycle exhibition of the 20th century, but also the technical brains trust that he is behind the greatest motorcycle exhibition of the 21st century. So we're going to do this in installments. Episode 1 is playing now. Make sure you like, subscribe, and you won't miss out on the other episodes. Enjoy. Hello and welcome to Twist Grip Tales. And if we got a tale for you, got a young man in Tucson, Arizona, who has had an amazing hand in bringing together two of the world's greatest motorcycle exhibitions. I'm talking about none other than Charles Falco. Charles Falco was partner in crime in bringing together the amazing Guggenheim exhibition in New York. It also traveled around the world to Spain and was in Las Vegas for a while. And that was back in 1998. And right now, up in Queensland, we have the Quagoma Motorcycle Art, Design and Desire exhibition. And Charles and Alton, partners in crime, have brought these together. So a big, hearty, deep South welcome to you, Charles.
Well, thank you very much. I very much am enjoying this interview so far, all 16 minutes of it.
Well, Charles, you and Alton came together. Alton, I've interviewed him already, and he said when he was asked, as he was working at the Guggenheim at the time, he said, it's coming to the end of the 20th century. Everyone is scrambling to do a century of this and that and whatever. And he said that the director came to him as Alton was riding his motorcycle to and from work on many occasions at the Guggenheim and said, why don't we do a motorcycle, the Century of Motorcycle exhibition? And Alton said in his own words, he said, I'll do it on one condition, that I choose the man that does the technical support, and that is Charles Falco. Charles, how did all this partnership come to be?
Well, it's a 6 degrees of separation story of how Alton and I came to know each other. So we knew of each other's existence. I mean, every story I'm going to tell you today will be true, but it's like an onion. There are many layers to it. And so I will say things and you're free to probe to go deeper, but we'll go on for hours if I don't try to condense it a little bit. So Alton knew of my existence and knew of my interest, my academic interest in motorcycles. And as a result, he asked me to do something with this exhibition. And at the time, I've been kind of involved in the art world in a fairly deep way. Layer of onion. And I knew the Guggenheim. I knew the world's only international art museum at the time. And so I knew, although incorrectly, that there's no way the Guggenheim was going to put on a motorcycle exhibition in the Guggenheim. At the time, they had a Guggenheim Soho, a small outpost in the Soho part of New York. And I assumed that it was going to be a few motorcycles they would put into that small space. And so it went for a little while, and it slowly became apparent that they were really seriously going to put this in the Guggenheim. And then at some point, we knew that there were going to be approximately 100 motorcycles required. And so I went through the early years, maybe I don't remember exactly, maybe from prehistory to 1920. And I, with 100 motorcycles covering 100 years, thinking like a physicist, which is what I am, thought, well, that's one motorcycle per year. So I picked 3 motorcycles per year and made photocopies. By the time we were done, we sent, I kept the FedEx labels. And so our Federal Express Mail labels, thousands of dollars worth. So I sent to Alton 3 choices per year. And in a conversation, I said, it's to give the curators a choice of one of the three. And that's when suddenly I knew what trouble I was in when he said, no, you don't understand. You're the curator. And then, so the idea that I, a scientist, would be curating an exhibition for a major art museum, I mean, it's kind of ridiculous. But that's what it was. And so then we had many adventures curating that exhibition.
And what an amazing adventure it was, because this brought you two together to work on this amazing exhibition and produce this. If you've never done a gym workout, just get hold of this book. This is. It looks like a big volume. It's not. It is massive, and it only arrived this week. I am in awe of motorcycles. I think that I'm a pretty knowledgeable guy on motorcycles, and I doff my hat to you and Alton at finding motorcycles, great examples of motorcycles, of ones that I have never heard of, and what a collection. Many of them are very close to my own heart. So it must have been a great joy and a great challenge to have to cast your net, as you were able to back then, pre-COVID, to bring in and contact and make acquaintances with so many museums and individual collections around the world.
Well, exactly. And so we made many travels to talk to people. And part of it was actually convincing people, some more so than others, that this was not your just motorcycle show, like a Saturday afternoon motorcycle show at the fairgrounds, that this was a major art museum that was doing this. And so part of it was convincing the people how serious it was, and they should let go of their motorcycle for some number of months. For some of the people, the motorcycle was the motorcycle they owned, and it's the most valuable possession they owned. I mean, but for us, if we, one of the reasons I think that exhibition was successful, and I think Kagoma, for the same reason, was Alton and I, approaching it from a left brain and a right brain point of view, would come to some motorcycle. We would discuss the motorcycle. And at no point did one of us say, okay, I'll let you have that ugly motorcycle in the exhibition if I can have this beautiful one in the exhibition. That everyone, the right brain and the left brain, both agreed should be in the exhibition. And if a motorcycle that we could not get, after our research, there was a Peugeot Desmodromic, like modern Ducati, racing motorcycle from circa 1910. I don't remember now the exact year. We wanted that. It does not exist. So in cases like that where we couldn't get it because it doesn't exist, what can you do? But in every case, it was not like, oh, well, we couldn't get this. It was really difficult to get, somebody to agree to a motorcycle. Let's take this one instead. We never did that. And I think that was a key to the success of that exhibition.
Yes, and I think just for everyone to understand how successful that Guggenheim exhibition was, from the Guggenheim it went to Las Vegas. Is that true? Or did it go from Las Vegas to the Guggenheim?
Well, it went from the New York Guggenheim, it went to Bilbao in Spain, to the Guggenheim Bilbao in Spain, where it just set an incredible record there. And then from there, it went to Las Vegas.
Okay then, thanks. So the research there, 2 million people attended the exhibition in total, and that set a Guggenheim record. It's the largest attended exhibition in the history of Guggenheim, even today, as I understand it.
Well, I don't, it was the largest at the time. I haven't kept track, so I don't know if they've had a larger one since then. It's also by far the most heavily attended design exhibition anywhere at any museum of all time.
And I think part of that comes back to the fact that there are no ugly motorcycles in that museum. I think that in itself talks about the very passion at the heart of the majority of motorcycle manufacture. So many beautiful machines, and technically beautiful machines. The one on your front cover is a classic, very rarely seen in real life, but the 5-cylinder rotary engine in the front wheel of the motorcycle is, can we see it there? Yes, we can. Right there, is technically an interesting machine, and styling-wise, very, very beautiful styling as well. So such a variety, everything you can imagine is captured in both the design, function, and in the styling. Beautifully done.
Once, when I was in college, I was driving to UCLA for some reason, and on the streets of West Los Angeles near UCLA, somebody turned in front of me, not in a bad way. I mean, just I was at a stoplight or something, and they were on one of those Magolas with the rotary engine in the front wheel in Los Angeles traffic. And I didn't know what it was at the time, but it was like, so it triggered something in my brain that's incredible. And so thinking back, it's actually pretty incredible that somebody was writing that in the streets of Los Angeles in the 1960s.
Thanks, Charles. That's amazing. And that's episode 1. Look forward to episode 2. It'll be coming out soon when Charles talks a whole lot more.
Keep going.
Thanks, Charles. What an amazing guy. A brains trust par excellence. So that's episode 1. Stay tuned for episode 2 when Charles and I chat about lots of things. Ugly motorcycles, lovely women, and what have they got to do with one another? Find out. Subscribe, like, chat. See you next time. Twist Grip Tape.